This is Kerrigan & Company. I have to tell you, folks, I think lighting in your home is one of the most important things that you can do to keep the house updated. And when I need new lighting, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. Their spectacular 10,000 square foot showroom inside a beautiful mansion in Lynn, Massachusetts is decorated with both architectural and decorative lighting in every single style. From crystal and traditional to contemporary and modern, the selection is absolutely unmatched. Whenever I'm looking for new lighting, as I mentioned, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. And when I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for, I rely on the expert guidance of their design team. I know that they can help me. Learn more and book your appointment today. It's Lucia Lighting. Hi, everybody. This is Kim. In this edition of Kerrigan & Company, giving back and the world premiere of a great new song. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kerrigan & Company. It's great to have you with us, like always, and boy, do we have a great lineup for you today. We have an underlying theme today, and that's these are individuals, you're going to meet three of them, who have dedicated a big part of their life to service. They've been known for other reasons, but they have this underlying passion that makes them do great things for other people, and we hope it inspires all of you who are watching and listening. Now, keeping me company today is somebody that you've met before, sitting right here next to me. I hope since that time you've listened to him. I know I have many, many times. It is so great to have back with me today country singer Jay Allen.
What's
Hello,
up,
my
Kim?
friend.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, how fun is it to get to be together again?
That's wonderful.
September was the last time you were here.
No, we're talking about how fast time goes now.
Oh,
yeah.
Jay, we're in the middle of 2025 already. It's really hard to believe.
Yeah.
But since I've seen you, certainly keeping track, and wow, have you been busy?
Yeah, it's been a beautiful year already, releasing new music, and the biggest thing and most important thing for me is we've been touring care facility communities, and something really special and sad just happened. We were at a care community, and they were having like a session, like a painting session. I jumped in and painted with this gal named Fran, and she had dementia really bad, and Stacy, my manager, took a video, and it was this really beautiful moment where she like came back to us, and her eyes lit up, and she was really engaged, and it's of God because I think we all needed to see that, and her family needed to see that because we just found out she passed away a couple days ago. So we get to be a part of, bringing life back to families.
Yeah.
It's so important to me to honor caregivers too, and those people that take care of them.
Absolutely.
We do that every day. Yeah. I get to come in and bring that sense of healing in a moment, but caregivers do it every day, are not unrecognized. So that's been my focus recently.
Well, for those of you who maybe didn't get to see Jay on another episode with me, Jay's passion is, well, I think he's got a lot of passions. Music is probably his first passion, but he is a member of a club that he doesn't necessarily want to be a part of, but he's certainly making the best of it, and that is for those who are raising money and advocacy for Alzheimer's disease. And the reason is because you lost your mom.
Right. Yeah. It still doesn't sink in sometimes, but it's been 6 years. She was 51, lost her at 54, took her life in 2 years and 9 months, and devastating. I had to educate myself very quickly as to what dementia and Alzheimer's really was. And I'm a songwriter, so I wrote a song to express myself out of heartache, out of therapy, and it turned into a war song for her, and just how God works. He utilized it to give me a purpose in life. I get to share that all around the world to bring healing to people. And even since she's passed. So raised a lot of money, done a lot of good.
Yeah, a lot of money.
People. I call it turning your pain into purpose.
Yeah.
So she was the most selfless, shy person, but now she's known everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's become this beautiful thing for me. So.
$160 million was the last figure I saw that you have raised. And keep in mind what he just said. He was introduced to this horrific disease just 6 years ago. So that is really, really amazing, Jay. How's Dad?
Dad is a wild man. He's good. But what's cool about us is we weren't close before Mom got sick. We couldn't be closer now.
Yeah.
We're very different human beings, but we, I think everyone through this disease, you find community, and you hold on to each other. And him and I have an impenetrable bond because of it, you know, and we kind of made a pact. I asked him to keep a promise to love Mama till the end, and he did it with such grace and beauty, and he honored that promise, and so him and I are good. So I just celebrated a year of sobriety, and so Dad has kind of followed suit a little bit and pulled back, so we're healthier and better and happier because of it.
Fantastic. Well, I am so glad to hear that. You look terrific.
Oh, thanks. Back at you.
Thanks. Wow, I was waiting for that. It took a while, but okay. Let me ask you what you've learned about the disease, maybe even since I last saw you, because when you were here, you were doing a lot of research. You were still learning a lot about it, you know, and I think that's probably a learning curve that everybody stays on.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about what you've learned. What good is happening in that world?
Well, first of all, when you talk about the bad, I mean, it's there's more and more people that are being diagnosed.
Right?
Yeah, the 6th leading cause of death in America. You know, I think the 7th in the world. The good is that we have treatments available now. You know, and
we're slowing the progression, right?
We're slowing the progression. And I think I take a lot of pride in being the person that I am. I look like I am. I'm a younger male that's covered in tattoos. My manager calls me the cool guy. I don't agree with that, but I take a lot of pride in kind of cutting through the BS, you know, and being bold, and being that person that makes it okay to talk about it, you know, makes it more human. You know, we get up on stage and we put on this fun country rock concert, and then I, am the most raw and authentic you could ever be, and I take people to church and I create a safe place by sharing my story. And I've just seen it part this sea of grief. You know, and we're always the last people to leave the venue because we have a merch booth, and it's, we sell shirts and hats, but it's mostly so I can shake everyone's hand and hug their necks and hear their stories. And because I bared it all on stage, they feel comfortable to bear it all back to me. Yeah. And that becomes like a ripple effect.
Sure, absolutely.
From those moments, people have come back to shows and they've shared with me that they were inspired to become speakers or to be involved in their local chapter, Alzheimer's Association, whatnot. So moments of bravery have turned into this like reverse butterfly effect for us, and I experience it and I hear the feedback every day.
Yeah. It has to be so great when people who have gone through this can share their stories together, because I think it's a very unique disease that it certainly is different for every family, and yet there's a bond between the families.
Yeah.
And that's got to be great to be able to share that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not alone.
Oh, no.
In it.
Yeah. That's the, first of all, the misconception that it only happens to older people, which is not true. And then, like the young boy that approached, like one of the very first times I played a big show and I shared my story, afterwards I had a young man, like high school age, come up to me and said, I've never shared with anyone that I go home after school, I take care of my mother. It's like this sense of guilt, like no one wants to bestow it on anyone else, that they just deal with it and internalize it themselves. And it's so sad and so hard to handle. And the person that cared for you, now you're the caregiver for.
Right.
I think it's our human nature just to, how can I just deal with this myself and keep it private? But I've just experienced all the good that comes from sharing it.
Yeah.
You're not casting your burden on anyone.
No.
People want to help you.
Absolutely.
And then once you share it, you realize they're going through it too as well. So
the caregiver aspect of it, I think, is a really important part of it. I mean, it's really tough. I'm sure in those after an early diagnosis, it's very difficult on the patient. But there comes a point where it's about the caregivers more than it even has to be the patient.
Oh yeah, I when I think about it, I get emotional because my little sister, she, I was in Nashville and I'm touring, and I'm trying to be a warrior on the road, but she's at home being a warrior behind the scenes and having to do things and see things that a daughter should never have to do and see. She's the one that's bathing my mother, taking her to the restroom. She's mom's starting to get violent. She's the one that's consoling her and calming her down, and she's 5'1" little blonde and having to be the toughest person in the world behind the scenes, not getting recognized, not being seen, not being celebrated. So once the person gets sick enough where they're not present, they don't even know they're sick. It's all about the caregiver.
Absolutely.
And they just get forgotten about, So that's been a big part of our care community tour, is we actually go in, we put on this fun show, and the residents are there, and we get them up and laughing and dancing, and I'll spin them around. I'll pull them out of their wheelchair if I have to and heal them. But for me, it's more so about the caregivers, and at the very end of our performance, I've decided I'm going to bring them all on stage.
Yeah, I love it.
And I talked to them for a minute. I pep talked them, and
that's great.
I perform Blank Stares for them. It's a moment for them. Remember that what you do is so important, and you are seen. And do not dare quit, and keep going because you're doing beautiful and very important things.
You're in Boston because you're going to be a part of Hope on the Harbor.
Yeah.
It is now. This is going to. You guys are going to see this, or if you're watching on the very first day, this is the 3rd of June. This is happening on June the 5th. We wish that this was happening a little bit later so that we could promote it even more than these couple of days. But it's happening at the Renaissance Hotel.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I get to share my story and perform Blank Stares all around the world now, and it's just another moment for me to do that, you know,
That's
and
great.
Just help raise funds, you know, and help bring hope. Not just on the harbor, but we're bringing hope to the whole community, the whole town.
A little on the harbor, a little, downtown, a little everywhere.
Yeah,
you've got a new song out, dropped it on Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
It's so good. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's called Break From Broken.
Yeah.
Actually, we kind of offered this. Well, we did offer this song to a documentary about caregivers. Buddy of mine, Richard Liu, he put together this documentary. It started with his dad. He was his dad's caregiver for 7 years, and he documented the whole journey. And he brought along 2 other caregivers and their families. And we actually got invited to the White House for the preview of this movie. And we're sitting second row back, Stacy, my manager, and I, in the President's private movie theater. And I noticed there was a young boy and his dad next to me. We watched the whole thing, super emotional, very powerful. And at the very end, they started rolling the credits, and they started playing my song as they announced that this young boy's mother, this guy's wife, had just passed away. She was one of the people that they were caring for. She got breast cancer from the fire pits serving over in Afghanistan.
Gosh.
And the boy buried his head in his dad's lap, and they just both sobbed and held each other. And the dad put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Thank you." Stacy's head is in her lap. We're just bawling our eyes out, you know. And that's the first time I realized, okay, we have another important song.
Yeah.
And Stacy just stayed on me and kept reminding me of how important that song is. So we decided to put it out and honor caregivers, honor people that we've lost that have served, and made the ultimate sacrifice. I think it's so important to honor them.
Well, I'm very excited about it, and be sure that you stay with us, everybody, because a little later in this show, we're going to hear that song, so I'm looking forward to that. And we got lots more to talk about, okay? But we're going to get to that. But first, you remember we do this Fast Five thing, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Just because you've done it once doesn't mean that you shake it out. Shake it out.
I need more espresso.
You're not immune. All right, if you're ready, you get 30 seconds. There's 5 questions. It's rapid fire. Are you set, my friend?
Let's go.
All right, Jay Allen is my co-host here, folks. Here we go. If you could be an animal in the world, what animal would you choose to be?
I'd be a dog. I just lost my dog. He was the coolest dude ever. Yeah, best friend.
Reincarnated, maybe. Come back, right?
Yeah.
If a movie was being made about your life and you could choose the actor who would play it, who would you choose?
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
He's a bad dude. I love that guy.
What was your favorite subject when you were in high school?
Whew, favorite subject. Does recess count?
Why am I not shocked by that?
Yeah, the times where I was not in school.
I'm sure it was music class.
Yeah, I still talk to my vocal teacher, actually.
There
high
you
school.
go.
Yep.
Well, what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
All of them. Yeah, when I quit drinking, I started eating an insane amount of ice cream. So it doesn't matter if it has sugar. I love it.
And finally, the song that describes your life.
Honestly, my song of purpose, Blank Stares, it's a song of hope. So...
Fantastic. Jay's going to sing another song for us a little later in the show, as I mentioned, and you are going to love it. Break from Broken is the name of it, right, Jay?
Right.
All right, fantastic. In the meantime, we've got 2 terrific guests who are going to join us, both of whom you suggested to have here, both who have lost to Alzheimer's, and both are people you are going to know. So stay with us, everybody. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Have you tried Rumson Rum yet? This smooth, sweet, memorable rum is distilled in the Caribbean, barreled aged, and then blended, finished, and bottled in Salem, Massachusetts. Rumsen's offers 4 unique blends: Gold, Spice, Grand Reserve, and Coffee. Before you start to sip or mix your next cocktail, ask yourself, do I want to enjoy New England's most awarded rum brand? If the answer is yes, the answer is Rumsen's. Get Rumsen's rum at liquor stores or ask for it by name at your favorite restaurant. Rumsen's. Life lived, life enjoyed.
It's a perfect mix of sugar, butter, and flour. Waitress is the hit Broadway musical baked from the heart with new music by Sarah Bareilles on stage at North Shore Music Theater now through June 15th. Order up your tickets at nsmt.org.
This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. So good to have you with us today. And, of course, keeping me company is Jay Allen. Jay, you know what? You were only the second person in the 71 episodes of Kerrigan and Company who has co-hosted twice.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh, let's go.
No,
I feel
know.
special.
Well, you are special. That's why we are so glad that you're here. I said this off the top, and Jay and I said it a couple of times in that first segment. But we are chatting with 3 different people, Jay being one of them, and then, of course, our next guest, who you know for other reasons, but such a passion in their life has been to be advocates and service. And Alzheimer's happens to be the thread between all 3 of you that we're going to meet today.
Yep, that's how we've all met.
Right, exactly.
And done beautiful things together.
Yeah, and you know, we said this is not a club that anybody really wants to be a part of, but sometimes life throws you into these situations, and thus the 3 of you have made the best of it.
Right.
So why don't you introduce who's here with us?
Now I'm grateful for it. Leeza Gibbons, she's experienced great loss. I remember watching her as a child with my parents growing up. My mother got to watch Leeza on TV.
Yeah.
But now I just feel like she's not a TV personality to me. She's a friend and a beautiful person. And I love how pain connects you. Yeah. And we're able to turn it into something beautiful, gorgeous, to honor others and help heal others and honor God, you know. And we share faith as well. So she's become a friend with intention, and it's such a pleasure to always see her face.
Leeza Gibbons, hello to you.
Oh my goodness, that really just touches my heart and lifts my spirit, because Jay, you're absolutely right. There are so many of us that had thought that we were the only ones, that thought we were this kind of invisible force, and then you get connected and you get strength and you get purpose. And that's not to gloss over the incredible heartache that people are facing, and the reason why Jay is out there every single day of his life, and why you guys are focused so much on how do we help those who are helping. And that's my mission in life, is to care for those who are caring, as you know.
That's so good.
Well, you know, Jay and I were just talking about that in the last segment, Leeza, because I think, you know, when there's an initial, I don't know. Let me start with this. You know, I have been blessed enough not to have this in my life. I've certainly known people who have and who are dealing with it today. But it would seem to me that someone gets a diagnosis and it's very difficult for that individual for a certain amount of time. But then the burden becomes so much heavier on those around that person who love them and who are taking care of them. And that's where I know you personally have really seen, a need.
Well, I always say at Leeza's Care Connection, where we offer hope and help and healing, and really just help people call on their courage, because what you're talking about, Kim, is this requires that you summon strength you didn't know you had. Because it's like, bam, you get smacked down, then it's bam, one more thing. So caregivers are always problem solving. They're on duty 24/7. It's one of the most anxiety producing things you can do. And yet, as society in general, we tend to think that, oh, well, they'll get used to it and it'll get better over time and they'll cope. And you know what? Yes, we do cope and we do rise, but we can't do it alone. And that's why what we're talking about today is so important, because it's very easy to lose yourself. You know, how do you hang on to yourself while you're letting go of someone you love, while you are doing anticipatory grieving every single day, saying goodbye to someone who's still there and yet they're not? I think that was probably the hardest thing for me with my mom and my grandmom, is their body was still there, but Jay so beautifully wrote about that in his song, Blank Stares. you look at their faces and you wonder, do they know me? Are they still in there? Are they in pain? What are they thinking? And at a certain point, those who are forgetting will not be forgotten, but we really don't know what they're experiencing. We know what we're experiencing as the care partners, and sometimes it's tremendous devastation.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's more often than not as you move through this process. Talk a little bit about the centers. Because obviously they came after your experience because you realized that people need that kind of help. And what happens at the centers? What can people anticipate if they walk through the doors?
It's an oasis. It's a place where you can exhale knowing that in your next breath, you're going to be supported because the community are people who get it. That's the biggest thing. When I was going through my journey, and when anyone becomes a caregiver for someone with a chronic illness or disease of any kind, you don't know what you don't know. And you feel very alone. And while you need doctors and diagnostics and medical treatment and medical advisors, very necessary, the number one question over the years that we got was, I want someone who knows, who stood where I stand, who understands what it feels like to wake up at 3 a.m. and wonder how the heck am I going to get to tomorrow. So our communities offer like-minded people who can be shoulder to shoulder with you, and we provide free support, education, and energy. And by that, I mean, I believe you have to reveal it to heal it. And there's misplaced shame and stigma around this disease. We talk about, you have diabetes or you have cancer, and we get crusades and we get, bands of people together to fight those things. We're getting there with Alzheimer's and dementia, but all too often it's kind of like, well, we'll just deal with that privately in our family. And when we tried to deal with it with my dad, my brother, my sister, and me, we all used our own limitations, our own coping skills, and we all fell apart differently. I hid behind getting over busy, because that's what I do. And my brother went into denial. My sister got depressed, and my dad was just so sad he could not leave his room for months. So we see, I created in the world what we wish we'd had when our family was falling apart. And that became Leeza's Care Connection. And while we have physical centers, our goal is to connect you virtually to either our virtual programs and support, or to help you with a warm handoff with someone in your community, or team you up with what we call a HUGS ambassador. And Jay knows about this really well. HUGS stands for Helping You Grow Strong. And these are mentors. Just like anyone who's in a program for recovery understands that you don't get there alone. And you need someone who has been there, who understands what you're facing. We team you up. There's a website where you can choose a mentor that you think gets you. And that's the person that can either talk to you by phone, by text, by email, or meet in person.
Sure, absolutely. And then ultimately you may become a mentor. Let me ask you a question, Jay. Why do you think there's a stigma associated with this? I'm going to be honest with both of you. I don't think that I ever thought of it as a disease that has a stigma. I mean, I understand that, but I haven't walked in either of your shoes, so I don't know. Why would there be a stigma associated with something that a person would have no control over?
I don't know, honestly, can I be real? Like, it was so frustrating during COVID. Stacey's going to maybe hate that I talked about this, but seeing numbers flashing that, people are, getting COVID. Yeah. If you compare those numbers to the people that are getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's every day, it's incomparable, and then it's still wild to me. 6, 7, 8 years later, I'm talking about this and people are still like, what is that? Don't just elderly people get that. It's, that would be, I think, the misconception that I would,
Leeza, would you agree? Everybody thinks that you've got to be 75 and older before you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
I believe, Jay, you're right. Your mom was young. Now have more and more cases of people who are experiencing Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia. There are many other types. And, probably 80% of them are from Alzheimer's, but they all include what I would say is losing yourself. And I think, Kim, to your point about why is there a stigma, we look at what's our soul print in the world. And at the end of our lives, what do we have? We have our memories. We have the people we loved and those who love us. Well, when those things can no longer be identified, what is there? And that gives me chill bumps even saying that, because it's the cruelest disease. And people will say, we don't know why 2/3 of the cases that are diagnosed are women. We're studying that now and trying to figure it out. But there's been decades of looking into the conundrum of the brain and the complexities of why this happens. And we're beginning to get some answers, but we just really don't know, because if we did, we'd be taking pills or getting shots or changing our lifestyle.
Right.
And I think the stigma piece is because the behaviors can be so disorienting in public, because like I know Jay had this with his mom, I did with my mom. We were at a black tie event one time at a fundraiser, and my mother was in the early stages, and I tried to stay really close to her and offer her security because crowds became disorienting for her. Sure. And I lost track of her for a second, and I saw her in the corner of the room, and I went, oh my gosh, my mother had taken off her gown, her beaded gown. It was in a puddle by her ankles on the floor. She's standing there in her bra and panties.
Oh boy.
And I swooped up to her and I went, oh my gosh, Mom, let's get this back on you. And she went, why? I'm putting on my pajamas now. This party is boring and I'm ready to go home.
Let's go.
There's those bittersweet moments where it was unbearably cruel, and yet in her mind, she was just leaving. And I think that's why people don't know how to be around those who are forgetting. They don't know how to act. And that's why I believe there's a little bit of shame and stigma.
Yeah.
I think you've told a story that really captures what the situation is, and that's certainly it.
Yep.
I want to take a second and talk about the fact that the two of you are so well known for something other than this disease. And you've used your platforms. Jay writes music. I mean, you are a face that all of America knows and loves. And you've used this platform to try to make a difference. Is it helping? And can people relate? Leeza, can people relate to you? Or do they look at you and say, oh, she's a glamorous, fabulous woman. She doesn't know really what this whole thing is about.
I don't care how many resources you have, how much money you have, how smart you are, how famous you are. Alzheimer's does not care. And when you are struck by that lightning, you are just as inept and as overwhelmed as anybody. It's an equal opportunity destroyer. And when my mother was in the beginning stages, she did an incredible thing that saved my life, really. She said to me, I was fumbling through it saying, Mom, we're going to help you. We're going to get you in a research study. We're going to find something, to make you better. And that was worthwhile. And that's always worthwhile.
Sure.
But my mother said, honey, all you have to do, you've spent your life as a reporter telling other people's stories. All you have to do is tell this story. This is your story. Make it count. And so that's what I have dedicated myself to doing. And my mother was so wise because she gave me a place to put that spinning energy, and she gave me some forward motion so that I wouldn't completely unravel. But there are a lot of people who are listening and watching us right now who know what it's like to unravel physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. This is a disease that depletes, it takes. And I believe that the caregivers, we are the healthcare system, and we are a caring culture. And we have to ask ourselves, as Americans, there's so much that divides us. This is a huge unifying experience. Everyone will either be a caregiver, need a caregiver in their lifetimes. So we got to get it together and figure out, how do we lead with compassion? How do we make things better for families? Because it's not just the diagnosed person. Their work is being affected. Their children at home are being affected. Their education is being derailed. Lives are changing in ways that we don't always recognize. Sure. And we all have to be, I think, responsible for that.
Absolutely. Any more TV coming from you?
Any more TV?
Yeah, like some big TV?
Yes. Yes, I still do the Rose Parade, which I love because I think that celebrates what we're talking about, which is strength and resilience and the best of us and communities coming together. And I've been doing a show called Remarkable Women, which also celebrates women that are creating changes in their communities. And I think that if we look at people that are stepping forward and showing up, I think there's a lot of pressure in our society today to watch everybody's social platforms and look at what people are doing and going, oh my gosh, where's my place? Where's my voice? Sure. I don't have this many followers and I don't have these outlets. All we really have to do is authentically use our voice and show up with intention every day.
Yes.
And Jay, I have to say, seeing you in community, in relationship with people who need to be reminded of that is a really powerful thing. Music is that big unifier. Jay has this ability to cut through that barrier that we put up around us, and it is making such a difference. So, my friend, I know you have no plans of slowing down. I don't see it ever, but it really does.
I'll talk up Stacy one more time. We have no plans of slowing down.
There you go.
We've raised a lot of money and done a lot of good, but the race is far from over. Thank you for saying that, Leeza.
Leeza, thank you so much for being with us. What a treat this has been. I have enjoyed you through the years and all of the different things that you've done, but I think that this has endeared me to you like never before. I saw a video of you dancing with a gentleman at a prom that you guys were having, and you said he was so delightful and you're not sure that he would remember that he had been there, but in that moment, it was a great moment. And I must tell you, tears were rolling down my cheeks as I watched the video, and it was really terrific. So continued success, my friend.
And to you.
Thank
Moments matter, so thank you for helping to maximize them. Love you, Jay, so much.
Love you too, Leeza. So good to see you.
Leeza Gibbons, thank you very much. This
Thanks,
is
Kim.
you bet. This is Kerrigan and Company. Longer days and warmer weather mean more time to spend outside. Are you ready to extend those days even longer with effective and efficient landscape and outdoor lighting? If so, Lucia Lighting and Design in Lynn can stretch your summer days by helping to create beautifully well-lit outdoor living spaces. The lighting experts at Lucia will work with you to plan a space that's bright, comfortable, and secure. It'll be so great you might never be inside. Get started by going to lucialighting.com, then make an appointment to visit their beautiful showroom in Lynn, Massachusetts. That's lucialighting.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Get your tickets to see the hit Broadway musical Waitress playing through June the 15th at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. Jay Allen keeping me company today. Leeza Gibbons is off the charts fabulous.
Yes, she is a gem.
She really is. I mean, her story, and I think it was so terrific. She shared that story about her mother, which is a very, I'm sure, hard story to tell. But I think it really was the perfect example of what we were talking about stigma. And I so appreciated her doing that.
Yeah.
I appreciate our next guest, too. And Jay, as I mentioned about Leeza, Jay also suggested our next guest because, again, Nick Lowery, unfortunately, belongs to the same club that you guys do. And that's the club of someone who has lost someone very close and dear to them, to Alzheimer's. Before we talk about that, though, for those of you who are in the Boston area, Nick Lowery may be a name that's familiar to you. Nick is a former NFL kicker. It's great for me. I'm from Missouri. Okay, so he was a Kansas City Chief.
She's a fan. We got a fan girl.
Yeah, for a long time, and I could be silly and just act silly about that. But for a portion of your career, you did play for the Patriots here in New England, Nick.
We won both games. We played on national TV with Darryl Stingley. He had just been paralyzed, was still in the hospital in Oakland. We saw him in the hospital the day before the game, then played the first Sunday night game ever with the Monday night crew with Howard Cosell, Dandy Don Meredith, and Frank Gifford went down to the final minute and looked like I was going to have to kick a game-winning field goal. And then a guy named Steve Grogan rolled out to his right, ran down to the 2-yard line, and all I had to do was kick an extra point. And then we beat San Diego the next week, but they cut me. So I had a very brief time there, but it was a great team. And if Chuck Fairbanks had not said in the middle of the season that he was leaving to go back to Oklahoma, they would have had a shot. They had a good enough shot to have, top 4 teams in the NFL to go to the Super Bowl.
And what year would that have been, Nick?
I was 78. I was only 4 years old.
I was going to say you were very, very young. No wonder they cut
kicker.
you. Well, clearly, they may have been a good team, but they weren't good enough to see what you had yet to come. And wow, what a career you had! You played at the Jets, but you made your mark in Kansas City, and that's great for me because I'm a huge Kansas City fan.
Yay! Well, it was an interesting time. The '80s were up and down. Marv Levy was good, but not great until he came to the Buffalo Bills. But then when Marty Schottenheimer came, I'm really proud to have my name next to him on the Wall of Fame in Kansas City because he immediately filled up the stadium within 1 year. Yep. Immediately we're a tougher team, which shows a lot about what leadership is about, how it can change just like that without really a lot of change in personnel. And then we started going to the playoffs every year. So games that mattered, and I was 24 in a row in 90, led the NFL in scoring, 21 in a row in 1991, 22 for 24 in 92, Pro Bowl, game-winning field goals in the Pro Bowl, but who's counting? But
I hope you are.
For a great team, and if we had Patrick Mahomes, we probably would have gone and won some Super Bowls too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nick, I know you're the leading scorer for the Chiefs, right?
I am, and I've made good friends with Harrison Butker, and if anybody deserves to break my record, he's about 6 seasons away. He can do it. He's really good. Really, I'm one of the top 2 kickers in the NFL, but I'm very proud of that, and of course, incredibly proud of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the incredible job that Andy Reid has done turning with Clark Hunt. Give him credit too for hiring the great people.
Absolutely. You have more connections here in New England. You went to Harvard, and you also went to Dartmouth for your undergraduate.
That's right. And winters at Harvard are cold. They are very cold. I'll never forget, I was in the advanced negotiation workshop with Professor Brian Mandel at the Harvard Kennedy School, which I won. Thank you. And every day we'd leave and it was -3, -2 wind chill. This is back early January 2001.
Gross.
But incredible people there in Dartmouth College, just a phenomenal experience. Back then it was 10-1 men to women. Now it's 52% women. So it's very different, but it's a great school. Harvard,
Who'd you play for there? Not Buddy Tevens. Buddy wasn't there then, right?
Buddy was my holder, field goal kicker my senior year. And Buddy, against Holy Cross, he'd been kept out of the game until the last drive, and it's 14-all, and boom, completion, run, completion, game-winning field goal, right hash, 40-yarder to beat Holy Cross, 17-14. So Buddy was showing what he should have been able to show as a junior. He went on to be Ivy League Player of the Year the next year.
That's great.
He won the Ivy Championship. So Buddy, unfortunately, you may know, died from the result of a very tragic bike accident. Yeah. And in fact, I went to an awards dinner given by New England sports media for Buddy, and I also went to the naming of the stadium now in his honor at Dartmouth, as it should be. So Buddy is one of the true great people you'll ever meet, and it's a great tragedy, but we can honor truly the kind of role model every head coach should look up to.
Absolutely. I have had numerous meetings with him. My son played football as well, and what a gem. Just a delightful man and a really great coach. And I know there's lots of young men who have been shaped by the legacy that he left behind. So it's really terrific.
Can I say this is a really good teaching moment. One of the things he did that I wish every coach did, we both had John Rassius, who the world authority on rapid language learning, and it was all about stripping away your ego and your levels and your layers of conditioning. And he said the best thing that he will have heard about a player off the field is that he is going up to people that are not like him, that he's never met, and introducing himself to foreign students, to people that are not athletes at the Thayer Dining Hall, across campus, et cetera, because those skills, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, meeting people that you don't know, those are the life skills that translate what you've learned on the field to real life. Absolutely. And a lot of football programs, unfortunately, don't emphasize that, but he did. And so I think you'll see the track record of his players is incredible, what they've done after their football careers.
Okay, now that leads us to where we are today. And you want to talk about someone who gets out of his comfort zone and talks with people. I mean, Nick, it's amazing. You are an advocate for the homeless. You live out in Arizona now, or we don't need to get into the exact location, but you live in Arizona. And I know that you have an incredible program there. I've watched videos of you interacting. It is amazing. And the thread that we talked about off of the top here is the fact that you lost your brother at 69 years old to Alzheimer's. And I know that you, along with Jay, and we just had Leeza Gibbons on, you guys have worked, tirelessly to try to raise money, to raise awareness, and certainly to help those caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty hard to watch your loved ones, whether it's your brother or your parents, as Jay knows really well, and wrote one of the best songs, probably the best song ever about it. By the way, that song, right, so simply shot, so powerful. I cry every time I listen to it. Mm-hmm. So that's hard. That's hard to watch. But then what do we do with the tragedies and the traumas in life if it isn't to honor the people we've lost? So, my brother Chris knew he was loved. Your mom, Jay, knew she was loved. Mm-hmm. You made every effort to let her know, to penetrate all of those lost perceptions, that she still was loved. And those are some of the only choices left to us. But the other choice is just to push forward with other people going through it, but also the research and the science. There's a new compassionate use drug called TB006. I always think of Tom Brady, TB. And it's been approved about a year and a half ago by the FDA for compassionate use. And it's so far, I will say the caveat is so far, it looks like it's helping reverse Alzheimer's. And the other treatments are very successful as well for arresting it. But now it looks like we have some real hope and some light at the end of the tunnel, and it really is a tunnel, to reverse Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know that we've had drugs that maybe slow the progression, but nobody has ever talked about the idea of being able to cure it. And I think that's what everybody ultimately would like to see happen.
Yeah, and it's not very normal, as we know. I've been lucky enough to get to know quite well on a regular basis RFK Jr., who's really fighting for these sorts of advancements and for the true science, the true double-blind tested science. Mm-hmm. But check out TB006, and the faster we know how well it works, the better. But with compassionate use, it means that you're basically saying we acknowledge we've tried everything else, and we just don't want to lose. We want to take every chance to make sure that we can reach our loved ones. So check it out.
How you feel about that, Jay?
That pumps me up.
Yeah.
Well, outside of science and medicine, too, we've also learned that you can change your lifestyle. Let's talk about that,
Very good.
That is the reason why I live in the gym, why I eat clean, why I'm now sober. For a long time, I wasn't practicing what I preach.
Right.
While I was on stage or at these galas or fundraisers or charities events, I had a Yeti full of Tito's. And, my manager and some other close people to me started holding up a mirror to my face. And that is a big reason why people get dementia, is overconsumption of alcohol.
Sure.
So you can reverse dementia, and we've learned, we have friends. We did a Night of Hope tour last spring, sharing that message that you can do things right now, sleep longer, eat better, be active.
Take care of your body.
Yeah, you can take care of yourself without consuming modern medicine, but that also pumps me up as well. So everyone responds and reacts differently.
Yeah. Yep. Nick, you've lived in a world where, the brain and dementia has been discussed constantly, thanks to many of your football brothers who have been hit in the head over and over again.
Yep, Junior Seau, a dear friend, and another close friend was with him celebrating his 50th birthday with Junior. Left on a Sunday night, having been with him for 4 days, seeing no evidence of any depression, and then Junior shot himself in the chest, which, if you know the the Samoan culture, what it did to that family and his children. It just, you think about the living hell that they're going through. To some degree also, since your brain is sort of, the motherboard for everything else, you're diminished in your capacity to understand what's happening to you as well. But Jay is so important in the work that he's doing. We all have to do something. My NFL brothers, thank God for Chris Nowitzki at the BU Center study on concussions. I've hosted a bunch of events, a huge event with the premiere of the concussion movie years ago, to bring not only the neurologists like my friend Chris Giza, who's the head of pediatric neurology at UCLA. Chris Giza, remember that name, one of the true great people out there, people from Banner and Barrow, looking at it. And there is a lot of progress, but we just have to educate people about taking care of it. And a big part of that, you mentioned sleep, Jay, is the ability as we're kids to sleep through the night and the brain's natural washing and cleansing of the less important data and then storing the important data, which goes into deeper memory. And those are the things, I experience it too, that are harder to do as we get older. So it's not just sleeping through the night, it's also the quality of sleep. And so I believe with AI now that we're going to have in 5 years, mark my words, we're going to have incredibly more improved capacities to guarantee, to ensure deeper sleep that washes the brain, that allows it to, with all the overload of details, and data that our brains are having to store, the ability to refresh itself as well.
You've got a project coming up with Lee Steinberg. Let's talk about that.
Well, Lee has just founded his own Lee Steinberg Foundation dedicated to brain health. I think Jay should be part of that. I'll be with Lee at the Sports Philanthropy Summit in late June in Chicago to talk about it. Lee was my agent for 10 years. I've been on his brain panels. He was the first one to notice Steve Young, Troy Aikman, Warren Moon, particularly as quarterbacks, because you're extended out there. You've got a blindside hit. You can't prepare yourself. And the level of repeated concussions.
Absolutely.
And that's the big thing is to get a second concussion after your brain's not fully recovered from the first is where you have permanent brain damage. So he's been a great leader in that. I like to think that I'm doing my part, but we all have to do it. And I really do believe we're making progress in arresting it and then beginning to reverse it. But people have to take concrete steps. And what happens is we wait too late. We have to, as Jay alluded to, no sugar, which I'm bad at. I just had a birthday dessert last night, key lime pie. Oh boy,
you can't win every day, Nick.
But and alcohol. Those two do make a huge difference.
Sure, absolutely. Well, listen, it sounds like a terrific event coming up in later in the month in Chicago. So I hope he continues to push out that word. That is a good thing. Let's get you involved, huh? What do you think?
Sign me up. Yeah, we say yes if we can.
Absolutely. Anything else coming up for you, sir, that you want to share?
Well, I'm one of the leaders of something called Project Max, which is dedicated to ending racism, anti-Semitism, and intolerance or hate through sport. We've got a bunch of NBA players. I've added with Eric Rubin, the founder, a number of NFL players, Duron Sherry, Will Shields, and others. We'll be going back to Israel for the Maccabiah Games. Yes. But the most important part of that, as we did over New Year's with Tony Richardson, who was my teammate, another Chiefs Hall of Famer, Missouri, yay, is to support the hostage families, but also the Arab Druze communities that are Israeli Arabs that were unfortunately attacked by Hezbollah rocket, and 50 of their kids were blown up. 12, 10, and 11-year-olds were murdered on July 27th. So we'll go back to see them as well. Yeah. And just keep educating people because, as you all know, there is a tremendous amount of misinformation, disinformation, and really, where does Israel have to go, right? But in general, also the whole notion of hate and racism itself. And we'll be doing that not just in Israel, but all over the world. So we see each other, that we all deserve dignity and love.
Fantastic. Nick, meeting you has been such a treat. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Continued success with all of the wonderful things. You were a fabulous football player, but you are taking that platform and turning it into something so incredibly positive. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. And God bless you for your work. And Jay, I love you, buddy.
Back at you, brother.
All right. This is Kerrigan and Company.
Don't miss Waitress. With new music by Sarah Bareilles, this musical celebration is the perfect recipe for love and laughter. On stage at Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater now through June 15th. Order up your tickets at nsmt.org.
Beach season is almost here, and that means we're all exposing a little more skin. Are you ready? If not, you need to make an appointment with my friends at Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa in Beverly. Thanks to their new Clarity 2 laser, they're offering the best in hair removal, photo facials to get rid of those age and sunspots, and how about those spider veins that have popped up? Well, Clarity 2 can take those away as well. Add a facial to your visit and get 20% off. Go to siennaaesthetics.com to make an appointment. That's siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. Well, we've been promising this, and I'm so anxious for you to hear. Jay Allen has been keeping me company today, and Jay released a song Memorial Day weekend, really in honor of the military and those who have fought for our country and have lost. But this is a song that I think can become an incredible anthem for a lot of causes. So Jay is going to sing for us Break from Broken.
Sometimes the dreams you make fall through. Sometimes the love you gave turns blue. So when the weight of life is making it hard to breathe, just look to me and let me take the world off of your shoulders. Let me be the strong that softly hold you. Go ahead and cry, I'll catch your tears tonight and wash them away. It's okay to fall apart, I get it. Let me take your hurting heart and mend it. I can be the one to pick the pieces up and put them in place and give you a break from broken, a break from broken. When you're feeling paper thin and torn, and all you wanna see is an open door, and when the pain that's in your eyes paints your sheets, just look to me and let me take the world off of your shoulders. Let me be the strong that softly hold you. Go ahead and cry, I'll catch your tears tonight and wash them away. It's okay to fall apart, I get it. Let me take your hurting heart and mend it. I can be the one to pick the pieces up and put them in place and give you a break from broken, a break from broken. So baby, break, let it rain. It's okay, tell me everything. And let me take the world off of your shoulders. Let me be the strong, softly hold you. Go ahead and cry, I'll catch your tears tonight and wash them away. It's okay to fall apart, I get it. Let me take your hurting heart and mend it. I can be the one to pick the pieces up and put them in place and give you a break from broken, a break from broken.
Wow. Fantastic. Oh, Jay, I love that song. I really do. You wrote that song, yes? Oh, my God, I love it. Who do you have with you?
This has become like family to me. My little brother, he is also our lead guitarist and our tour manager, Hunter Bishop.
Hunter, fantastic. Thank you so much. That was really, really great. And you wrote it with the military in mind. But again, as I said before, you sang, I think that could be an anthem for so many causes.
Yeah, I think about my little sister, like I talked a bit about earlier, just feeling so alone, feeling broken, and feeling like no one's there to see you and to catch you because you're trying to catch someone else.
Right.
I take a lot of pride in being a rock for people, being someone that people can look to and lean on, and I want to be that for others, but also I believe there's a God in heaven that loves us and has a plan for us and a purpose for our pain, so this song does have a lot of meaning and a lot of depth.
Yeah, it really does. It's and I said to you before you got started when we were in the break, I actually saw you sing it on video, and immediately I thought that should be a song that should be released to, the general public, because every DJ in this country should want to play that. I mean, that is a spectacular song, and I think you were saying that you're working on a video.
Yeah, we're going to shoot a music video for it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's coming soon. So,
Great.
Like Blank Stares, we released it, and a year later it had its moment. So you just never know when that moment's going to happen and when a song's going to find its place, So we're intentionally trying to create that moment.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I am so glad you've been here with me again. You've brought me great guests. You brought us Hunter. Yeah, you brought us a fabulous song, and you just brought us so much good information and so much good mojo. I'm just very proud of you.
Fills my heart. Thank you for creating a platform and being a voice to help share stories and to make movements and just do good in the world, leave a mark.
Well, it's good to have folks like you, and you promise when you're back in town, we'll do it again.
Sign me up.
I got to tell you, so they'll start talking about us.
Come on, let's go.
Jay Allen, everybody. Be sure that you can go to jayallen.com and you can find more information about him there. Support all the causes that Jay is out there.
Oh, jayallenofficial.com.
Official.com.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Be sure that you check it out. And I know you guys are going to be here in Boston. This will stand much longer than when that occurs, but people can check it out. I know you're going to be you're on the road for a while.
Yeah, we're always going weekend warriors, sometimes during the week. Yeah.
I was checking that out.
God's going to lead us.
So, be sure you take care of yourself. You got a lot of road ahead.
Road warriors. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. And thanks to all of you for being a part of Kerrigan and Company today. We're so glad. And, if you can do something to help out in this fight against Alzheimer's, I would highly suggest that you do. Check in the link, and we will put information about Leeza's nonprofit. We'll also put some information there about the Alzheimer's Association. Have a great, great week, everybody. Be sure that you listen on anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also, of course, watch on YouTube, and be sure that you subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.